So the advocate stated that, continuing about the cancer statistics, saying of like 1,500 and a certain number of those patients actually took the prescription. In an article on CNN called Physician-Assisted Suicide Fast Facts, says Oregon has had a physician-assisted suicide law on the books since 1997. Since its enactment, there has been a steady increase in both prescription recipients and the number of deaths. According to the 2015 evaluation report, since 1997, prescriptions have been written for 1,327 people, and 859 patients have died from ingesting the drugs that were legally prescribed to them under the law. So there was 1,327 people that got the prescription, and only 856 patients died from it. So there's different factors that could have happened. Either they just disregarded the prescription, or the drugs did not work. And this leads, the drugs not working leads to what my fellow peer was saying about how the drugs are not always effective. In an article from the New England Journal of Medicine, it states that in 114 cases, the physician's intention was to provide assistance to suicide, and in 535, the intention was to perform euthanasia. So we're talking about physician-assisted suicide, and in the article, it states that complications occurred in 70% of cases of assisted suicide, and the problems with complication, a longer than expected time of death, failure to induce coma, or induction of coma followed by the awakening of the patient occurred in 16% of these cases. Complications and problems with completion occurred in 3% and 6% of which thus became cases of euthanasia, where the doctor had to come in and kill the patient. So not only was in that one case that my partner said, but also in these other cases where 60% of these cases there was complications, and this definitely affected the patient. They caused more harm to him, as sometimes the patient wouldn't even go into a coma, and thus resulting in the person's death. And the advocate also said that doctors do not save all patients, and yes, that is true. Medicine isn't an exact science, which means there's always going to result in a patient that dies. But it's not always the doctor's intent to kill the person. From procon.org, Dr. Leon Cass says, the prohibition against killing patients stands as the first promise of self-restraint sworn in the Hippocratic Oath as a medicine's primary taboo. I will neither give a deadly drug to anybody if asked for it, nor will I make a suggestion to this effect. So doctors don't intentionally try to kill the patients. It is up to the patient to take the drug and resist any type of treatment when the doctor's only goal is to try to heal the patient. Thank you.